There are so many ways to buy distressed property and get a great deal. And one of those ways that we do often is actually tax liens. But there's a lot of different things to know, and there's a lot of pros and cons of buying a tax lien, or is it a tax deed state, or is it a tax certificate state? So I want to take some time today to go over a few of those things to help get you guys educated so you can learn more and be successful. As always, I'm the Flippin' Landlord Ninja, and we're here with Two Guys Take on Real Estate. We do appreciate it if you like and subscribe, and so we can come out with more great content for you guys. So let's get right into it. First off, there's tax liens, and what is that? Let's just kind of give a broad idea of what a tax lien is, and that's basically when someone who has a property hasn't paid their taxes for that property, and it's the city's way of redeeming and basically enforcing their lien on the property and acquiring the property or the deed to that property. And what they then do is often have an auction to then put that off on an investor like yourself and myself to then take over that, either take over the actual certificate or take over the deed to that property. Because the city, they're not in the job of actually owning property. They're in the deal of collecting taxes and doing all this other stuff. They'd rather put that on someone else like you or I as an investor.
It requires that they be given notice. And they were given notice, they did not come forward to pay what they owed, court entered a judgment of foreclosure. Town of Orange owns this property, absolutely.
So let's talk about the two different types first, and then we can kind of go into some pros and cons. So first off, there's a tax deed state. That's when a city holds an auction for the deed of the property. And so therefore, once you go to these auctions and you're bidding against everyone, at the end of that, you'll actually acquire the deed to the property. So you'll own the property once you get all the closing costs and all that kind of junk. But then there's also the tax certificate state. That's where they're actually auctioning off the right to foreclose and the right to collect potentially some interest as well. You'll actually get, if you win the auction, you'll get basically a certificate saying that there's a certain amount of period of redemption that you're gonna collect X amount of interest. Sometimes it's 16, 18%, every state's different. Sometimes they even actually make you auction off and bid against each other on the interest rate.
Sold for $155,000 to bidder number 61. Congratulations. We can see you in our office, and feel free to drop your bidder cards right here.
So then once you win that, you have the certificate and you'll collect interest if they actually pay the taxes off. Otherwise, you'll then hold a foreclosure. You'll have the foreclosure happen generally 6 months or a year, depends on the state, and you'll be then acquire the deed. What are the pros and cons? Well, first off, pro, obviously, to get the properties for cheap. And that's a great way, once again, especially if you're doing like the BRRRR method or your house hacking, getting a good deal is really, really important so that you can, refinance it out or, well, hey, who wants to overpay for a house anyway? So a con though is
Sold as is. The Town of Orange, its custodian, employees, representatives, and or agents makes no representations as to the condition of any structures or the insurability or marketability of the title other than title.
the property might be distressed. These properties often, if they're not paying their taxes, they're not taking care of the property as well. So you could get a property that's been neglected, roofing, paint peeling off, old windows. Maybe it's filled with trash, who knows?
The existing environmental conditions, if any, including but not limited to hazardous waste conditions, which may or may not be in compliance with any applicable laws, policies, or regulations. Number 4, any error, misstatement, or omission in the description of the property will not annul the sale or be grounds for any abatement or compensation.
Someone might have inherited this property and just didn't want to pay the taxes because it's just kind of one of those, maybe we'll call it a misfit, property. Maybe it's a landlocked, or it's just something that doesn't really fit in their criteria, or they can't do anything with it. You need to make sure when you're buying this that this is something that you're looking to actually do something with. You have a plan in place. So you should really go out to the property and acquire it and make sure that you know exactly what you're buying so that you don't get into something that you can't do anything with either. The pro is you're gonna get a clean title. What does that mean? So municipal liens or tax liens are the top lien. So if there is a mortgage on there, those are going to get wiped out. Or if there's mechanical liens, those are going to get wiped out because this in the chain of title, this is top tier. So all other ones get wiped out. So you're going to have a nice clean title on this property. So that's awesome. It could take some time. There might be a time of redemption. So there might be a redemption period. So they might have time as the owner to redeem. Now, if it's a certificate, they will have to pay an interest, whatever that interest you do. And so you will make some money on the money that you've invested, but it could take a little time, and you won't want to start the property or the rehab project until that redemption period's over, so that you don't get stuck pushing out all the money for the rehab and not actually getting the property. And each state's gonna be different. So once again, you're gonna wanna look at, because certain states are deed states, some are certificate, some states even do both, and so maybe it even depends on the city and what they've chosen to do. So you want to really get into details and talk to the tax assessor in your city that you're looking at, so that you can figure that out. A con is you might actually acquire the people because you're buying it as is, just like at a foreclosure auction or just a regular mortgage foreclosure. You're getting it with the people. You might have to evict them. There are different laws and stuff like that. You're going to want to talk to your real estate attorney and a tenant landlord law lawyer to really help you and understand what in your area is going to be the next step to get these people out. So you can be really saddled with that. So another pro, like I was talking about, is that if it's a certificate state, you're going to get some guaranteed interest on that. So that's kind of could be nice. If you actually come back, you could get a nice return on it. And sometimes I've heard up to 18% in some states. So that could be a nice return on the money that you actually invested. So that's something to really consider. The other thing is you're going to come into a lot of equity into these properties. As I said, you're going to get these really cheap. So this means you're going to have a lot of equity. You're going to have a lot of room to play, because generally taxes, every state's going to be a little different. Every city's going to be different, but the taxes aren't going to be generally crazy amounts. And often a lot of these cities want to get their taxes paid quickly, so they're not letting them build up massively. And so you'll be able to get in for a fair price. The other thing right now, especially that's going to be a big con, is there's going to be often be right now, especially a lot of competition. With people really hounding and looking for deals, you're seeing a lot more competition at all auctions, foreclosure auctions, tax auctions, stuff like that. So you want to make sure you're doing your due diligence so that you can make sure you have your numbers and what you're willing to go up to above and beyond what the actual taxes are, so you can outbid others, but you don't going too high. And look, you want to watch some of our other videos where we talk about like the maximum allowable bid, or how to do the 70% rule, the 1% rule when you're buying property, so that you can make sure you're getting good deals. So check out those videos too. So this can be a great way to get fantastic deals. And this is one of the ways that we actually get some of our distressed properties, besides all the other ways that we get them. But this is definitely one of the ones that we've had some fantastic success, both in Massachusetts and Connecticut. And some of them are tax deed states, some of them are tax certificates. And we've done both and had phenomenal success. Now, sometimes, like the tax certificates, we had to sit on them for over 2 years. So our money was kind of tied up for quite a while. And that was definitely obviously one of the big negatives. But now we're actually acquired title. We're actually now selling them at crazy profits because we got them super, super cheap. It's a great deal. So I hope this was really helpful. And if this was, you really want to check out this video too and learn how to actually calculate what the maximum allowable bid is so that you can get in for these properties for the right price. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.